Good, babies. Outrage commune in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. We are developing the outrage commune here. We're going to eventually have a compound for the commune.
Of the cult.
And no one dare call it a cult. It is a shared grouping of loving ideas and worshiping of the Chancellor here.
Sounds like a cult.
Only non-creepy worshiping. No,
It's only creepy if it wants to be cult.
don't stalk me or anything unless I ask you to.
Too late.
Too late, already stalking.
I already asked you for me.
I appreciate all the stalking I can get at this point. We live, ladies and gentlemen, on the Facebooks here. I'm sharing the stream out. How the fuck we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Goddamn Friday night. Ain't giving a fuck. Ain't a fuck left to give in the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. Oh, we've seen the Russia investigation is closing in on Trump. The noose is tightening. Ugh. They've indicted the evil Roger Stone, and it's only a matter of time before Mueller closes in on his prey. Roger Stone hasn't necessarily committed any crimes, but he has talked to the evil Nazi president multiple times, and he has been in correspondence with the blatant Russian conspiracist Julian Assange, and so, God damn it, lock him up for life. Fired up, ladies and gentlemen. I was watching Alex Jones, a little bit of his stream there, and I wish I had goddamn money to contribute to that man's operation and get myself some, some super male vitality, some brain force, and some super silver toothpaste, If anybody deserves some support, it's the T-Rex of political talk there, Mr. Alex Jones. Being demonized from all sides and deplatformed just for his patriotism, ladies and gentlemen. That's what being a true patriot gets you nowadays. You get chopped off at the knees, all right? And of course, the mainstream media is reporting this as if it's some apocalyptic, catastrophic event, proving that Trump is a Russian agent, that he's once talked to Roger Stone, who once talked to Julian Assange, who used to be, the darling of the left when he was exposing the military-industrial complex, but now that he's exposed the DNC and Hillary Clinton's criminal cabal there, well, now he's off of the favorable team, and he's just an evil Russian, and that's how it goes. And the mainstream media is spinning their narrative sweater out of yarn that they create, and they're spinning a nice little propaganda sweater for you to wear.
They make sweaters?
Over the winter. It's going to keep you nice and cuddly and fuzzy, and you're going to be nice and warm and placated by the propaganda that CNN pumps out, and you won't have to actually have any thoughts of your own. You can just kind of, drift along and agree that, Robert Mueller is God, and Roger Stone is, he's pure evil.
Well, I'll do it if it means I get a sweater.
Everybody needs a sweater. And that's what CNN is counting on. They're preying upon your need for warmth in the winter. and it's truly diabolical.
Have you been outside? It's cold.
It's cold. Put on a propaganda sweater.
You should be warm or whatever.
It suits you quite well.
He's just jealous on his size.
Alright, well, it's time for some Dragon Energy protests until we get some people in here watching. There's a madman on his YouTube channel just vaping relentlessly. Speaking truth to power. What an absolute madman. How can he criticize the benevolent CNN? The Queen Hillary. The Queen Hillary was exposed by Julian Assange and InfoWars for her corrupt dealings with her private server located in her bathroom so she could take a shit literally and then take a shit figuratively on the American public at the same time.
She can't do both. She's old.
Figurative and literal shits on the American public. That's what being a true tyrant is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. Devious. Devious indeed.
Dirty.
Dirty and devious. That's what Hillary Clinton is all about, ladies and gentlemen.
Ew.
She's going to take a steaming dump as she takes a steaming dump on your family.
Why?
By selling out the country for foreign influence through her Clinton Foundation. Oh, the dirty tricks they play, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not tricks, everyone knows about it.
I heard that she doesn't even flush. She just keeps a stack there.
That's disgusting.
A stack of tyrant goo.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Angry ass picture.
I apologize for that mental image I painted for anyone.
I mean, I kind of liked it, but ew.
But it's the unfortunate, dirty reality we all face when combating the tyrants.
It's like the anti-Picasso painted pictures like that.
Picture Hillary Clinton with her
Dig out.
with her bovine cankles and her lesbian haircut.
That is so mean. That's so factual too. Like, maybe not. It's actually happening.
In her third world dictator jumpsuit as she shat upon the American public.
Is Hillary the dictator? You're just fucking shut up. My favorite dictator.
But we rejected Hillary, and thus the mainstream media and the deep state were sent into a spiral of madness, trying to prove that the Orange Man was bad. But the American public did not believe the narrative that the Orange Man was bad, for therein they voted for the Orange Man. Because he made them laugh and giggle. And he warmed their hearts as he made fun of the tyrants and gave them cute little nicknames like Crooked Hillary and Low Energy Jeb and Lion Ted. And he proved to be a true predator centipede. This centipede is a predator, he said, as he looked the deep state right in their tyrant demon eyes and said, "We are the American people. This is America. Nationalism is our credo, not globalism. Americanism is our credo. We will not shit upon the American public. We will shit in toilets and we will flush it accordingly.
I shit wherever, man.
We will not make backdoor deals.
I'm already doing it. Sorry.
We will not collude with Vladimir Putin. We will be straight up and down, and we will negotiate like true gentlemen. Okay, even as we make fun of our defectors and our opponents and ridicule them for their idiocy, it is okay. Because it is all for a good cause, ladies and gentlemen. The good to oppose the media, the mainstream media apocalypse being pervaded on the American public. And it's quite sad that anyone would watch a news organization that makes most of their money from antidepressant commercials.
And lies.
What are they selling there? They're selling misery. They're selling, destitute,
They're selling
hopelessness.
dependence. They're selling dependence on sadness and depression, and making it look cool. Worse than that.
What will you do without the benevolent government there to hover above you and feed you like a mother bird feeding her young, regurgitating the chopped up remnants of what used to be an actual news story into the spun narrative that has been regurgitated through Anderson Cooper's esophagus,
If a mother,
a worn out esophagus at that. You can thank Don Lemon for that. Wearing out each other's esophaguses in between news broadcasts to bring you the fake news. What were you going to say, darling?
I was gonna say, if a human mother had acted as if the government acts on us, like always there no matter what, like always offering us everything, like hey, take the pills, like just you'll feel better. If she was hovering like the government is and like crippling us, and it's like what's it called? When you are a
Helicopter parent.
yeah, your helicopter parent, you're basically enabling them to do like nothing but depend on you. That's abuse. Actually, that's abuse of the parent. That's what the government's doing, straight up abusing it, and we're taking it, and I'm not even sure why anymore. Because we're not even getting it out of it except more bills, more taxes that aren't paying for anything.
Well, it sounds like you're just one of those hateful individuals that doesn't want to pay anybody else's medical bills. Because, god damn it, we need universal health care.
I'm not saying like
Are we a civilized nation or not? Universal health care, doesn't it sound so attractive? But what it really means is I have a diabetes foot and I want you to pay for it.
No, I don't think the Pledge of Allegiance ever says anything about like having civil.
You will pay for my diabetes foot?
They never promised civility. They just like said like here you're free to do stuff. Like one nation under God, whatever.
I believe that's somewhere in the Constitution. You will pay for my diabetes foot.
It's not. It's like bro, like just give me the money. Like,
It's rotting off. Pay for my foot.
No, the government just like throws bullshit at us. We're like, all right, cool, I like it, yeah, and it's like it's complete bullshit, and we keep eating it, and we're like, we don't even like bullshit. But we keep ordering it for some fucking reason, because they keep naming it a different name, but it's still bullshit.
Well, it's called the Affordable Care Act.
It's called bullshit. Because how is it affordable when I still owe you money at the teller? What the fuck?
It's called you can keep your doctor, you can keep your care. Just kidding.
But not your health care. Like fuck that shit.
Just kidding, everybody.
No, I like that. You can keep your doctor.
You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan.
You can't keep your
Just
doctor.
kidding.
No, like, you can keep
Good
your
one.
doctor, you can keep your plan. We can't. That's so crazy.
You know, and the idea that anybody would expect somebody else to pay for their medical bills. I don't know. I think, if anybody should be fitting the bill, how about McDonald's and Coca-Cola pay for your diabetes foot?
It's not their fault that they make something delicious.
It is their fault.
No, we have self-control. We're humans. Like, we're adults. You know better. What the fuck? Get a grip.
They should at least have some advertising where, like, they show the after effects
No, dude, that's the
of McDonald's. They show the happy kid.
No,
They show the happy kid getting Happy Meals, and everything's good, and then they show the middle-aged man kind of depressed trying to make a decision, and he's super busy, and so he's like, fuck it, I'll just get some McDonald's, and then he like cries a little bit, and then they show the elderly person getting ready to go in for their diabetes foot operation, and they decide to stop off at McDonald's
That's a
before
very
they go
extreme
to
case.
the.
Too extreme. It's like putting it next to any alcohol beverage for the sign starting off from age 12
And it's like
and 21
the
to like being full of alcoholic and dying of cirrhosis. The what?
the tagline is like McDonald's with you from the beginning to the end.
McDonald's got you all the way from head to toe.
Well, you're not gonna have those toes for long. Those toes are coming off, courtesy of the secret sauce there and the delectable fries.
We're gonna get you hooked, and you won't even want to ever say goodbye. And we're gonna sell Coca-Cola too. You know, Coke. Come get your soda.
You know, that was, they used to put cocaine in Coca-Cola, and that came out. I'm waiting for,
There's no resurgence, bro.
the heroin to be found in the McDonald's buns there.
It's not that great.
95% beef, 5% pure grade heroin.
I mean, that's some cheap ass heroin then, though. Like, they're fucking. I don't know how they even profit at this point. I mean, they do make $700 million a year. $700 million a fucking year. That's ridiculous.
McDonald's?
Yes, they make $700 million a year. That's not a number I made up. That's from the founder, bro. Fuck shit. $700 million a year.
Well,
That's stupid.
it kind of makes me want some McDonald's right
And
now.
what's the most fucked up part is that the McDonald's brothers that he took the business from, he was supposed to give them money, but he didn't because he didn't sign a contract. So he owed them like over $100 million. $700 million a year. He wouldn't have to wait a whole year to pay them back. $100 million, I've said.
Well, that's the deal. The universal health care. It's most health problems arise from personal choice, but that's okay because nobody's held personally responsible anymore except fucking straight white males. So,
Oh my gosh, get off our high horse, weirdo.
so we're gonna get that diabetes foot taken care of, courtesy of the white man's wallet, just like everything else.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's a human right to have access to white people's wallets, and not my wallet, because I'm still staving off my paying into the system, because I'm operating around it, kind of in the periphery.
What?
I'm in the shadows here, like a splinter cell.
What are you even talking about? Who's ready to talk ever?
What the hells? Welcome to the stream, sir. Even though you just booed me.
Oh, he's just jealous. His dick is too small.
My roommate says your dick is small. I don't know if that's true, but it's something to have some scientific inquiry into. Let's put the climate scientists on studying the effects of space-time around your penis.
Ew.
And maybe we can get some scientific readings on the effects therein.
Only if it's bigger and it's not, so sorry.
Are you creating climate change with your penis, sir?
It's not.
That's what we need to know. Are you emitting any carbon dioxide? And why are you not paying Al Gore his money? That's what we need to know. Bill Nye wants to have access to your penis for more experimentation.
He wants to rap battle with your penis.
He says my stream keeps freezing. Well, that's obviously the deep state not wanting you to hear the truth. It's Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller is currently watching the stream and furiously masturbating. Because he's trying to relieve some stress because of all the intensive study that's going on in the Russia investigation. And they don't necessarily have anything on Roger Stone, or they don't have any evidence of collusion, or they just keep coming up with hookers that Donald Trump has paid off, and just these fabulously wealthy hookers after dealing with Donald Trump. And it's very troubling. And, you know, Bill Clinton was asked for comment about it, and he said that it's very unpresidential. It's very unpresidential to pay these hookers so much money. What you're supposed to do as the president, you're supposed to make your interns into hookers and not pay them at all. That's what presidents are supposed to do. What's happening, Douglas?
You're so crazy.
Douglas, do you agree with Bill Clinton that Donald Trump is evil because he paid his hookers actual money instead of just fucking his interns? It's a legitimate question. That seems to be the main thing the Russia investigation is focusing on now. Is why are we paying these hookers so much money? You know, they don't deserve it. Donald Trump is
Well,
making.
Why are you guys so stupid that you fell for that? Or why are they smarter than you? Like, either way, you guys know that fucked up, not them. Don't get mad at them because you're stupid because they beat you at your own game. What the fuck? Why are you mad though? Good job, idiot.
That's weird. I've never heard that the stream is freezing. It should be good. Hopefully it's smooth for most people.
Why don't you stop and start it again?
Well, then it would cut it in 2 clips, and nobody needs that. It seems to be fine on my end.
Yeah, because it's already ended. No,
In my subjective libertarian anarchist universe here, everything is super smooth. Okay. Because I've subscribed to the new ideology that everything is subjective and the world is an entire simulation based on my own consciousness. So I've decided that I'm transracial. I identify as a Puerto Rican. And I identify as a Puerto Rican hooker who fucked Donald Trump. And that means I deserve, you know, my due payments from the Donald, or else I'm going to go public.
No reparations for hookers.
I'm actually going public right now. That's the fun part.
I'm on Instagram.
I'm going public as a transracial, transgender Puerto Rican hooker that Donald Trump fucked and hasn't given a Bentley to yet. And that's my biggest gripe with Donald Trump. It's not the border thing. It's not, cutting taxes. He hasn't paid me my hush money. And it's actually a little late for hush money right now. So I'm actually going to accuse Donald Trump of rape. And
oh my gosh, you're so horrible. Stop. I hope no one does that to him. That's horrible. Dude.
I need a civil settlement here.
Like, he can give anyone a decent amount of money and they'll let him do it. Just go ahead. $1 billion, oh, do what you need to do, obviously.
I'm actually, in the process of contacting Robert Mueller, and you'll probably see my face on CNN tomorrow. For exposing Donald Trump for taking advantage of transgender and transracial Puerto Rican hookers.
Gosh.
And he's preying on the weak, ladies and gentlemen.
The weak that don't exist. Okay. Aren't real. They're just made up.
How dare you say that my identity is made up? Because identity politics means that I can create my own reality in my own head.
What if someone said that they just believe that someone that is not real, but someone they believe is real, is accused Donald Trump, that you're imaginary friend. At some point, where's the line where I believe that there's someone standing next to me? It's a human, but only in my plane can I see them. So they're accusing them of this. But they're not even real because we respect everyone's opinion of they're crazy. Not saying all these people are crazy, but they're
You can say that. It's okay.
they're
We're politically incorrect here at Outrage TV.
I don't think they're crazy, all of them at all. I just think that we have to draw the line at changing the laws to believing what people don't believe is reality. In their mind.
Well, there is no reality. All the reality that exists is between my ears.
So why not say, Your Honor, I didn't kill him. I don't believe I did, can I get off? Because my reality didn't say that. And how dare I get prosecuted for something that didn't happen in my reality? What?
I identify as a transracial, transgender Puerto Rican hooker who, was formerly a superhero, but had to go into hiding because Donald Trump molested me.
That's not what happened. That's not real, guys.
And, I think Donald Trump needs to address these allegations. And I'm going to, alert CNN and MSNBC, and there's going to be a lot of big stories tomorrow, and I'm just letting you guys know. This is an Outrage TV exclusive. Donald Trump took advantage of me. He's an evil Nazi bigot.
Oh my gosh.
There's a guy whose name is Insensitive Motherfucker. Now go fuck you. That's his name, and welcome to the stream, sir.
What the fuck?
We welcome, all the insensitive types. We hope you have a face tattoo. We support all of your endeavors. We hope you become a SoundCloud rapper and make millions of dollars and contribute a portion of those millions to Outrage TV, because that's where
As in 90% of it.
we're here for the underdog, ladies and gentlemen. We're speaking truth to power. And we're getting face tattoos. We're transracial. We're transgender. Okay.
America, why not?
We're trans-American. All right. I'm hardly even American. I partially identify as Bolivian.
On Thursday.
I partially on Thursdays identify as a Bolivian 18-year-old circus performer
And here's to say, at least in my
that gets shot out of cannons.
I'm not saying anything hurtful about those people at all. Like, they're not those people, the transgender nation or what have you. I'm just saying, at some point, like, even you guys are like, some shit's gonna go down where it's like, even y'all be like, lean back and be like, wait, what? We're gonna, wait, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, first of all, that there's even a transgender community, because they claim to be either men or women. So if they're trans women, they claim to be women, and they don't have any biological difference between men and women. So it should just be two genders, right?
No, it's not that, because it's the community of those that are living differently than how they originally came. That's the society they are.
Right, but they say they're women.
It's not the male, female, male anymore. It's the act of being and living as something that you were not originally perceived as or born as. That's the community. It's not the who's man and who's female. That's not even the point. It's the ones that have had really that struggle there together, because they at least they know what their own that people with like-minded stories won't judge them on something that's so important to them, which is who they are. So it's not about male or female. You're seeing the point. It's about the process and the feelings that they have, very similar inside. Same with people who have like bipolar disorder or like addiction or something like that. They just chill with them better because they they understand. I also think that's very intimate to them, which is their identity. Yeah, I expected people there, right there. I'm sorry, whatever. You weren't getting it.
Well, I don't think you're respecting my identity as a unicorn, because that's what
Fuck you.
I identify as a piggy unicorn from Venus.
Yay!
I am a pig and a unicorn at the same time. And, I'm vegan, obviously, because I don't expect anyone to try to eat me, despite how delicious I may be.
How cute.
This is the piggy unicorn checking in. What's up, Heidi? Heidi Kleidendice. That sounds like a very Nazi name. It seems like you probably
You're so Nazi.
you probably support concentration camps. And you know what? We're totally subjective here at Outrage TV. There's no objective morality, so that's cool with us.
Are you Nazi? Oh my god.
You could be a Nazi. You could come on the team, dude.
Yeah, you can get on Nazi with me, baby.
You can contribute some ideas. All right. Maybe you think there's a final solution to the Jewish problem. I don't know about that. We'll take it
You're
into
a hot Nazi.
we'll take it into consideration. Maybe you're a Nazi unicorn. Maybe you identify as a Nazi piggy unicorn.
With us, though. You're not cool enough. You're a Nazi.
you know, you just got to accept the consequences for your identity.
Nazi though, hun.
Huh?
I don't think she's national Nazi. We just totally riffed about her name for no reason.
Well, yeah, because it sounded pseudo-German, so...
But hey, so does Fish, though. I'm not a Nazi, I'm black.
I'm mostly German, so I don't identify as a Nazi because it's not fashionable right now. It's.
But their fashion was on point though.
It's so out.
Their uniforms were straight as shit.
They did have some
like sick as shit.
Some sweet shoulder pads.
Those lines were like legit.
Because they didn't have time. They were too busy exterminating Jews to actually work out their shoulders. So, you know, it's very important that they had shoulder pads there to look masculine.
No. It was like, bro, if we're going to take over the world, let's do this shit in style. So
I think working out could have helped the Nazis.
They were working out. They were working out killing the people they killed, bro. Like,
they might have, you know, worked out some of that aggression, you know, and not needed to genocide people. If they just got in the gym.
That may have been a problem. Yeah, you're right. All that pent-up with all that meth anger. They need to remember his crew like meth. Like, they need to work it out, but they were getting enough, like, exuding enough.
All that meth anger.
Yeah, like meth anger, not using that energy. That meth anger, you know.
The methamphetamine fueled anger.
So horrible. But that's what he was doing. Like, he was doing hella meth. He was giving to all his guys. Like, bro, here's the meth, pass it down. Like, they're all fucked up. But they were pent up, fucking, not even moving much in their camp. Like,
methamphetamine fueled orgies. That's what it was all about.
I hope not. No, don't say that. Not for the poor people. No, I don't think not the victims. That's horrible.
Oh yeah, what's up, Rocky Reina Show? Yeah, the GameStop tranny. I saw that video the other day.
How do we get from Nazis to...
Oh my God, I saw a video today on Drudge Report. Holy shit! It said transgender axe attack after Tinder date. Like this trans woman apparently went on a Tinder date with this dude, and then she like tracked him down and stalked him at the and there's this security footage at a convenience store. She like found him, walked into the store carrying an axe, and like confronted him, and like he was playing it off like it wasn't a big deal, and then she literally I had to cut the video off before it happened because I didn't know if they were actually going to show it, but it said she split his face in two with an axe because he rejected her because she's transgender.
What the fuck?
It's like unbelievable.
What the fuck?
It's so...
Did he die?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but you know, life with a split face is never the same, ladies and gentlemen.
That's serious though. That's hard to do.
Oh, dude, super hardcore axe attack in public.
God.
Transgender people are becoming Leatherface.
That's so wrong.
And you know, it's becoming a horror movie, ladies and gentlemen.
No one deserves that.
Right before our eyes. And just the cockiness in his face, like right before she brought the axe up, it was just, I had to cut the video off, dude. I couldn't.
It was really there?
Huh?
You saw it?
I don't know if they were actually going to show it in the video, but I cut off the video before it happened. Because like she was like playing all nice and then brought the fucking axe up, and I was like, okay.
Are you fucking serious?
Okay. I mean, I had an experience like this myself. I went to downtown LA. I took 3 hours out of the middle of my day one time to go down and try to get some, what I assumed to be pussy from the dating apps there. And, oh, it's on Drudge Report. What the hells? I think it should still be on Drudge Report. Let me see here. But I took, you know, hours out of my day to drive from Westchester, where I used to live, down to downtown LA. To meet this, what I assumed to be woman, and I got to the apartment complex. She wouldn't answer my phone calls and tell me what apartment she was in, apartment number, and eventually she answered the phone and was like, "I got something to tell you before you come up," and I was like, "Oh, here we go," and she's like, "I wasn't born a woman," and I was like, "Oh, right, nobody's born a woman. You were probably born a girl, right? That was..." And then you grew into a woman. That's perfect. Just what I was looking for. And she was like, "No, and I was like, Like you just expect me to just go through with this like I've already driven here. I mean, already made the drive. I mean, what's a dick in the equation? I mean, you're making me ask the question if you're pre-op or post-op,
Oh
and it's just so awkward. Let's see if it's still on Drudge Report. It was on the bottom middle. Oh yeah, horror. It's on the left side of Drudge Report at the bottom of the page. We still have Christmas lights up because we constantly keep it festive here at Outrage TV.
no! And we like them all year round.
And I need some kind of picture behind me just to give this apartment some flavor. I need I need a dragon.
A wall of dick pics.
I need a dragon breathing fire on transgender people. That's what I need. But on the left side of Drudge Report, yeah, it has horror. Trans axe attacker splits man's face in half after bad Tinder date. So not very good PR there for the Transformers. Be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. Hell hath no fury like a trans woman scorned. Okay? Yeah, I could put... Do you think we can mount one of the TVs we have up on the wall right here?
Mm-hmm.
So I can just have hardcore porn playing behind me?
That's actually just smart. Thank you, whoever said that.
I need some hardcore
You
bestiality porn playing behind me.
That's
I think...
genius. We have two TVs too.
We do have two TVs.
We have two TVs. I had two TVs.
I don't think either of them are built for mounting on the wall,
No,
though.
all TVs are built. You're not built for mounting a wall. We can put a table behind you and put it on top of the table.
Well, they have... I don't know if it would be high enough.
We can figure it out. We'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. Yes.
Rocky Rena Show says trannies are cool. They can't get pregnant. And he said that in all capital letters, which means he's serious.
He's done it.
You've dipped into the tranny well there, sir?
Let him dip his toes.
Dip your toes right in, all right?
Dip right in it.
They're definitely lonely.
Stop. They're not favorite people too.
I'm just doing my part in not celebrating their subculture because I feel like there should be a detractor from people being open to it. West Hollywood, that's right down the street from me, and they're probably doing some raging sodomy down there right now. What's up, K-Bam? Welcome to the stream. He or she suggested I should take off my shirt. And it's super provocative. While I enjoy the provocative nature of that comment, I'm going to have to decline. I do, if you like, I do take my shirt off around noon to 1 o'clock every day.
Do not get this.
I'm in Hollywood proper. You can just hunt around and look for the man standing outside of his apartment complex, desperately seeking vitamin D. Because I'm not going to be one of those Hollywood faggots who stays inside and becomes a vampire. I'm going to get out there and I don't really do any outdoorsy activities, but I kind of just fake it by going out and getting 30 minutes of direct sun exposure at a time there. And so you get your vitamin D needs taken care of, and that's how I can broadcast so confidently to you people about the evils of transgender axe murder. It's because I've been fueled up by vitamin D and cheap Cabernet wine. Ladies and gentlemen, the CVS, this big ass bottle of Cabernet, brought to you by Outrage TV. Hopefully, I'll get them as a sponsor, Livingston Wine, and they can send me a big fucking hefty case of free wine
Or money.
or money. Just send me money.
Just send me money.
Bitcoin address is in the low bar, ladies and gentlemen. Send me cryptocurrency because I'm trying to stock up for the apocalypse here.
Can you send me just like all pennies?
Somebody said vitamin D means something different in West Hollywood.
Vitamin D.
Well, I was going to pretend like I didn't know what they were talking about and make a joke out of it, but you just said vitamin dick, and now that kind of blew my cover. So now I can't feign ignorance as to what it means, so I get the joke there, and it's much appreciated. They asked, do I get vitamin D by injection? The sun injects me, okay? If I'm getting face fucked by anybody, it's that big glowing star in the sky, all right? That's the only face fucking I'll be taking. I'll get a face fuck of solar rays there. And it's very beneficial. And, you know, I'm looking flush in the face now. I got the red wine going. We're keeping it healthy here at Outrage TV. I've had a lot of broccoli today. I know that's politically incorrect, that I should probably be eating McDonald's and guzzling Coca-Cola and getting a diabetes leg there so that the taxpayers can pay for my medical bills. But I'm taking upon as radical as it is, I'm taking it upon myself to not become terminally ill and not have to go to the doctor. I know it's a radical concept that most of the normies out there can't understand, that you don't just shovel carbohydrates in your face at a constant level and bloat yourself up beyond belief and then expect the taxpayers to bail you out like the big banks, like Obama did. You know, I don't subscribe to that. But I do indulge selectively. Yesterday, I went to the gym and lifted some weights like a goddamn heterosexual man full of toxic masculinity. I lifted weights, I stared in the mirror, and you know, I scared women and children, and I roared, you know, as I was lifting up my final reps in the gym there, and scared many people, and you know, it was gratifying. And then I went to Little Caesars and ate an entire pizza to myself. And then I also had a chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwich, and it was magnificent, ladies and gentlemen. And I didn't gain an ounce of fat because I worked out on an empty stomach, and then I ate all the carbs I wanted. Now, that's the kind of you know, personal training that usually goes for $1,500 an hour, but I'm giving it to you for free here on Outrage TV. Work out before your carbs, ladies and gentlemen, and you can eat whatever the fuck you want and not gain any fat, and you still have the abs going on there. Or if you haven't got the abs yet, work out before your carbs, ladies and gentlemen. You will get them before long. Gold-plated vagina. I like that you commented your name there, gold-plated vagina. Welcome to the stream. I think that's important. We should probably get back on a gold standard, and you know, gold-plated vaginas are a nice start to get back to the gold standard. We got to get away from this Federal Reserve system, and I feel like that's a nice way to make gold attractive. Now we make gold-plated vaginas to get people back on the gold standard and get people wanting gold again instead of these Federal Reserve notes that have corrupted our system and have people engaging in sodomy left and right because, you know, the economic collapse could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next month. But if we start making gold-plated vaginas, people might start, you know, engaging in some tangible money again, and we could rein this economy in and actually have it based on some real value there. Now, I don't know like how attractive a gold-plated vagina could be for a man who wants to fuck. I mean, that seems like it's going to be a hard surface. Now, I appreciate K-Bomb messing up his comment twice, and he meant to say hot guys aren't funny. I appreciate the comment saying that, I'm somewhat handsome, but then you also tried the backhanded compliment of saying I'm not funny, but you also made 2 consecutive typos in your comment. So I can only assume that you must be of the low IQ section of the population. And that's very sad. It's very sad, but you're also raising your IQ by watching my stream. Now, that's what I'm trying to provide for people out here. I'm trying to raise your IQ and teach you economics. And we need to get back to the gold standard, and gold-plated vaginas, I think, are a great idea to get back to the gold standard and make it super sexy again. All right? Because Ron Paul's politics are not particularly, sexy. Somebody said, "Who's the hottie in the background? Would you mind twerking as I talk?" Can we get some twerk talk?
We don't get twerk talk.
Political twerk talk.
Twerk talk at 12.
Twerk twat.
Oh, gross.
This is Heaven, my lovely roommate, and she's obviously converted to Islam with her head.
You're just jealous
headdress.
that I'm a girl and you're not.
That's not her hair. She doesn't actually have a Motown haircut.
I wish it did. It'd be cool.
It's a piece of fabric she's tied on her head.
It's a beanie. I'm actually bald, guys. I have no hairs. By choice. This is the choice, okay?
I'm making the choice to slowly go bald. All right, it's thinning up here.
Show them your Bosley's commercial. Show them the hair.
There's no need to actually show my bald spot.
Why were you doing it then?
I'm too insecure for that.
Show you, but here you are.
I just have a distinguished, raised hairline here, and it means that I have a high IQ.
No, that's
it means that my brain
is not a correlation.
My brain is burning off my hairline here because it's firing so hot. My brain is firing so fucking hot, it's burning off my hairline. And it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. All right, if you have a high IQ, you're gonna lose that hair.
But does that mean you have money? I don't think so. Not yet.
Now that was an unnecessary low blow that didn't need to happen.
I was just saying.
All
I was
right.
asking a question. You didn't say yes or no. I said no for myself. You give me a billionaire. I don't know.
Anti-establishmentarianism. That's what I subscribe to. And I'm glad you identified it. And I've been found out. I've been, enlightened. And I appreciate that. Gold-plated vagina is quite fond of the dark skin, he says. That seems super racially charged there.
That sounded really like caveman. The dark skin one. Could you get the darkest one there? Bring her forward.
It sounded a little bit Neanderthal there.
But I mean, is your dick big though?
Are you saying that you would knock her in the head and drag her back to your cave?
That's called rape. That's called rape.
No, it's called,
It's called rape.
persuasion.
By force? By knocking...
Cave persuasion.
I mean, is your dick big? That's a question. I'm just...
K-Bam says Prince isn't dead. He right there. Assuming talking about you.
Wait, am I have millions of dollars?
Prince was way lighter skinned than Heaven.
Yes, I'm very dark, and he was not me. And I don't have millions of dollars yet.
You do have a Prince-like physique, though. I don't know. You're a little thicker than Prince, but
I got a big booty hoe, so he didn't have.
Prince didn't have ass like this, ladies and gentlemen. He wouldn't have been able to dance properly.
No,
it would have been awkward.
Balance, all
off balance and
buying jeans with a big ass and small waist is not fun, guys.
Tripping all over himself, and he wouldn't have been able to beat Dave Chappelle in basketball like he did. And Rocky Brainer Show says the older the berry, the sweeter the juice. I mean, blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Well, that was a sloppy comment, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm a woman.
Gold-plated vagina says, I thought it was a polite way of saying I like black women. No, there's no need to apologize for yourself here, ladies and gentlemen.
No, we're just fucking with you. I don't know shit.
We make jokes, but
we're all racist here. It's okay.
we're all irredeemably racist here, and
we're race free. How about
I'm
that?
only doing this stream to take a break from whipping Heaven and keeping her in captivity.
He lets me shower in between shower time.
I let her out of the cage for the stream, and she gets to roam around
freely.
And it's very beneficial for her, and we give privileges here at Outrage TV, and the federal outrage chancellor is very benevolent as long as you don't cross him, and you don't,
as long as you don't say no ever.
and you don't make any comments about his hairline.
And I mean, no means yes, and yes means anal. So, you know, whatever. So I'm gonna go. I gotta shower. Bye.
What is your channel mostly about? It's mostly about hating the Jews, and being resentful about having no money. That's what it's about. No, I'm a libertarian anarcho-capitalist, and we come on here and we make fun of the social justice warrior leftists, and you know, all the political fakery going on in the world, and it's a lot of satire, and you're probably gonna have a hard time determining when we're serious and when we're joking, but that's the beauty of the whole thing. And I'm a comedian out here in Hollywood, and my audiences have the same dilemma. They cannot decide what I am, and they just assume I'm some form of Nazi. I'm an alternate flavored Nazi here.
Self-hating Nazi that dates black girls. Hey.
I'm a self-hating Nazi that dates black women. That's what it is. I can't admit that I'm a Nazi, and so I hate fuck black women. That's what it is. And
Since 1990.
hate fucking black women since 1990.
Can't stop me. Can't stop me.
What's up? I don't even know how to pronounce your name. Meshugapeth.
Whoa,
Ask if I'm a white enthusiast. I am, because I do downplay the historical evils of white people that are played up in the mainstream culture, like the Native American genocide.
Okay.
And, you know, the idea that white people participated in slavery for the shortest amount of time of anybody and then ended it for the civilized world. So I, you know, push back against those narratives. And then I do, you know, fully support all the white creative inventions that have contributed 98% of the significant scientific advancements since 800 BC. So go white people. But I do make fun of white people because they're the most self-hating and most unnecessarily guilty group on the planet. And it's just funny to me how white people are so quick to hate themselves and have no spine and admit that they're racist because, you know, they say black people commit crimes more than other people. Oh my God, how dare you? How dare you suspect that black man of shoplifting? Well, they do commit half of the murders in the country there. Oh my God, Michael Brown was shot execution style, hands up, don't shoot. What's up, Dirtweed? Oh, Rocky Rainer Show says 55% of homicides. I'm going to need to see some statistics about that. That is goddamn racist. It's only 50% of the homicides committed by 2 to 3% of the black males in the country. Hip-hop music has no influence on it, okay? Hip-hop culture is just loving, all right? And it's fun. All right, there's nothing wrong with saying you're going to shoot everybody you don't like and calling all women bitches. There's nothing wrong with it. All right, it's to be flaunted on BET and celebrated for diversity. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? Black males are not 15% of the U.S. population. Black people in general are about 15% of the U.S. population. And then you got to cut out elderly people who generally aren't committing a lot of murders, cut out the women who generally aren't committing a lot of murders, and the children, and then you're left with, you know, 4 to 5% black males. Now, if you'll excuse me briefly, this is the portion of the show where the federal outrage chancellor. I respect your all capitals commitment there to your comment, but it's it's no more than 15% total men and women, black people total population in the United States. That's a fact. But
Are you gonna pee or not?
I am. This is the portion of the show where the federal outrage chancellor gets up and heads to the restroom here to present the outrage followers with his flow. Now, very important part of the podcast where you rate the quality of my flow, and you will be able to hear it briefly from the other room. This is the most disrespectful podcast on the planet, and it's your fault for tuning into it, but this is just what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Please rate my flow and rate it out of 10. All right, I'll be back after I relieve myself, and I will continue talking about the evils of the blacks and the Jews. Okay? Right back.
Turn off the light. Turn off the light.
Maybe a 7 out of 10.
That was so much pee.
Maybe a 7 out of 10. I have high standards for my flow, and you know, I appreciate. Somebody said 9. You know, I may be a camel. I may be a white supremacist camel. Very possible.
The longest you ever peed.
Although I refuse to let Arabs ride on me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, because you know I don't support Sharia law, or you know, the caliphate.
It's not because you're not gay.
I know that. I know it's not because I'm not gay. I don't support a caliphate. I know it's politically incorrect to not want to be conquered by Arab people, but you know, it's super important to you know, resist the temptation to allow yourself to be conquered by Islam and submit yourself to, you know, the pedophile prophet Muhammad, because he did marry a 6-year-old and fuck her when she was 9. And so that is super prophet-like to be able to get away with that and still be considered a religious figure. So, gotta have respect for that pedophile gangster there, as horrific as it is. What's the deal with Carlos Mencia? I never thought Carlos Mencia was funny. He was, you know, first of all, I don't even think he's actually Mexican. And he was playing the identity politics, but he was like kind of the kickoff of identity politics, along with George Lopez and all those unfunny fucks who all they talk about is being Mexican and you know, how funny it is. And it's like, all you're doing is playing to one demographic. And you know, his lack of creativity was pretty evident when he stole everybody else's jokes. So yeah, he never talked about anything important and just made a bunch of Mexican jokes and then stole a bunch of Richard Pryor jokes and passed them off for his own. And yeah, even when I was like 11 and 12 years old, when Mind of Mencia was on, I would just turn the channel when that shit came on. It was just like boring as fuck. You know, as sad as it is, our generation's version of George Carlin or Bill Hicks. Oh, what flavor is this? This is the vape juice I'm using here. It's called Kendo Man. I have no idea what fucking flavor it is. It's a little bit, it almost tastes like spearmint. Yeah, hit it. But I got 100 milliliters for $10, so winning. But as sad as it is, our generation's version of George Carlin or Bill Hicks is Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan just places his asshole firmly on the spines of the fence there. And he just pushes the spines of that fence straight up his asshole and does not take any stand on any position and refuses to speak the truth as he sees it, and instead wants to curry favor to the advertisers who pay him a bunch of money to do his podcast. And then on his Netflix special, he pretends to make politically incorrect jokes, and then in the middle of the joke apologizes to the audience and makes it clear that he doesn't want to offend anyone with his little goofs there. And he does the type of edgy comedy that makes fun of vegans, and he's just he's a total nothing intellectually. His main intellectual statement is do some DMT and smoke weed, and he's literally 4'7". And so it's really embarrassing for the comedy community that's our edgiest thinker. As I say that, I'm thinking, and Bill Burr is unquestionably the best comic in the world right now. Louis has been taken down. Louis C.K. Is great. He's a little too nihilistic and masturbatory with his material, but social when it comes to social criticism, Louis and Bill Burr are just so far fucking ahead of everyone else. It's unbelievable. Jeselnik is all right, but he's not really being himself on stage. He's a character. He's a fake character, and in reality, he's just a conformist, boring fucking leftist nothing. And even Bill Burr. And Bill Burr is the most truth-telling comedian because he pushes back against the narratives, the anti-white narratives, and the feminist narratives. He pushes back against it, but he can only do it so much because he is married to a feminist who I believe she wrote for like BuzzFeed or some shit.
BuzzFeed gone.
BuzzFeed is not gone. They're still publishing fake stories.
And
that might be fake news. I don't know what his wife did. I just gotta admit it. I'm talking out of my ass. But Burr has kind of softened his stances on shit, and it's kind of sad that we don't have a comedian that is really balls out telling the truth about important shit on stage, because that's what society needs more than anything. Fake news is still prevalent. Welcome to the stream, Moro. You're exactly correct. You can it's wide out in the open, plain for anybody to see, like that the MAGA kids versus Native American story. Where they say we should punch this kid in the face, let's get him expelled from his Catholic school. How dare he stand there and smile as a white man in front of the noble savage there hitting his drum in the guy's face. And then it comes out that the black Israelite fuckheads were like calling him a cracker faggot and like saying he should go back to Europe. And I did watch the important segments of the 2-hour video just to see how like unbelievably false and fake the narrative was. And, you know, you don't see any major retractions. Instead, it's just, oh, well, they were wearing MAGA hats, so fuck those asshole kids. And it's like, there's the fake news right there in your face, ladies and gentlemen. Just demonizing white kids for being white and literally nothing else. And that's what it's come down to. And it sounds like this pussy thing to be like, oh, it's like white people are being attacked. But that's the propaganda playing on your mind, because what they do is the demonization comes before the extermination. So if somebody like Bernie Sanders or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or you know, any of these big fake leftists gets into power, it's going to be really dangerous. It's going to be dangerous because, you know, the white males are just looked at as tax cattle now. And we're just expected to pay for all the horseshit social programs that anybody can dream up. And like, you know, it's an unbelievable thing that this is being propagated on the American people and passed off as some kind of legitimate ideology. It's straight up hate. It's straight up racial hate. And it's we still have enough vestiges of free communication and the First Amendment and the internet and the free market to be able to combat it. It's just so open on its face. It's really hilarious. Just the fact that they think they can get away with it. It's it is unbelievable, dude. Yeah. Apparently Rocky Reina is making videos on the black Israelites. They actually, they claim to be the true Jewish people and they're black. The black people are the true Israel. We were kings. You know those memes? We were kings. It's like, I don't know, dude. Your own people sold you out into the Atlantic slave trade. White people get blamed for the Atlantic slave trade, but it wouldn't have been made possible without the actual black Africans that sold their own countrymen into slavery. And so, you know, not much in-group preference there. But it pales in comparison to the lack of in-group preference that white people have. And it's just hilarious how quick we are to cuck out and sell each other out. And it's like, you know, all the major scientific advancements in history have been made by white people. And it's like, so we're so quick to just hate ourselves based on a narrative that we're taught in school. And super, super strange, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, generally, I prefer to hang around black people. Especially black men that don't hate themselves are much more enjoyable to be around than your average white dude in Hollywood. The average white dude in Hollywood is like obsessed with apologizing for their own existence. And like, you know, getting pegged by trannies just to prove that they're progressive and going up and telling the stories on stage. And it's like, it's so pathetic, dude. They're not concentrating on innovating or doing anything important in stand-up or like, you know, talking about anything real. It's just like stories about how fucked up they got in Vegas and then they let a tranny try to fuck them in the ass. And that's like the big, hilarious white guy story in Hollywood. It's like, it's so ridiculous. I would much rather hang around black dudes that like make fun of me for being white and then I make fun of them for being black and then we can both laugh at each other and like, you know, talk about whether or not the moon landing is fake. That's you know, that's a much more enjoyable interaction than like white dudes getting creeped out that I like point out that the Nazis weren't right wing. I'm like, you know, the Nazis called themselves the National Socialist Party, and they were a big tyrannical government with concentration camps, and it wasn't necessarily right-wing ideology. It wasn't. They weren't really libertarians. I know the term alt-right. It applies to both libertarians and Nazis at the same time. But truthfully, the Nazis had a big totalitarian leftist government, and Hitler was a vegetarian who was a failed artist and couldn't get laid. So turns out they weren't quite that right-wing. Doesn't make much sense. And then like the other white guys are like, whoa, dude, don't are you apologizing for the Nazis? And I'm like Rocky Reina says Hitler was a war hero. I mean, I have some semblance of respect for anybody who goes out there and put their lives on the line for war, but at the same time, you're also kind of an idiot because you're signing up for a system that blatantly doesn't give a fuck about your existence and is just playing this geopolitical chess game and trying to acquire power and get an agenda through, and then you're submitting yourself as a pawn in that chess game and willingly giving yourself up. So there's an element of self-hatred in there that never gets talked about with the supporting the troops narrative. You're essentially committing, suicide by government if you sign up for the military. And I don't think that's necessarily all that commendable, although, putting your life on the line is respectable in any aspect. When you do it voluntarily, that's pretty ballsy, but there is an aspect of, I just kind of hate myself, and I have no other skills to contribute to society, so I'm just going to sign up for the military and march into gunfire. It's not that commendable to me. Like Trump said, I prefer my war heroes weren't captured. That was one of the most triggering things he ever said, dude. Talking about McCain. Rocky Rana says, when you're native, serving your country is kind of our thing. Are you a Native American? I grew up around Native Americans, bro. I'm from Oklahoma, so I came from a town called Ponca City. The Ponca Indians there, and they were pretty fun to hang out with until they started drinking and raping, and then it was a little awkward, but they're fun to talk shit with. Yeah, fuck John McCain. That's why I don't even regret voting for Obama in 2008. I was 18 years old. That was the first time I was eligible to vote. And, even as fake as Obama was, I was like, man, fuck John McCain. That dude, he's just a war hawk psychopath. Like, yeah, rape is a party foul. That's fun little story. One of my best friends growing up, Native American dude named Bo Bigoose. You can look him up. Maybe his arrest record is still on the books. But we went to basketball camp. Our nickname for him was the Diesel. He was a big dude, played down low, and he would diesel people on the basketball court. But then we would all sleep in the same room with a bunch of sleeping bags, and he would threaten people using his name as a verb. He'd say, somebody's getting diesel tonight. Somebody's getting diesel tonight. And we'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? And then it'd be late night trying to all go to sleep. An early game we got to wake up for the next morning. And then you'd hear, diesel coming for you. And we'd be like, what? And he would jump upon you and mock rape you on the outside of your sleeping bag, humping the shit out of you. And pretty traumatic there. And, but it was funny at the time. And then after high school, I looked him up on Google, and he had actually got convicted for rape, ladies and gentlemen. He apparently went to a bonfire party, got a little too fucked up, went upstairs to the girl who was throwing the party, and whispered in her ear, that he was going to eat that pussy like cold pizza. I just blew the joke, ladies and gentlemen, but eat that pussy like cold pizza is what he said, and apparently what he did. So, be careful drinking the fire water with your Native American buddies there. Very dangerous. Yeah, he was slightly mentally ill, but sometimes it's fun to make jokes with people like that. You get some good comedy material out of it. Deprived millionaire or prosperous vagabond, welcome to the stream. You lived in Oklahoma City and Shawnee, good shit. Yeah, I'm from Ponca City, Oklahoma. Small town, around 25,000 podunk Oklahomans there. And pretty uneventful town. Happy to be in Hollywood now, but humble beginnings, ladies and gentlemen. I was born out of a trailer park, and so I'm spreading my white trash roots throughout the country, and I'm proud of it, ladies and gentlemen. Shoot the Moon commands me in the name of Lucifer to spill the blood of the innocent. I don't have anybody innocent in the apartment right now. It's I'd be more than happy to oblige, but I need possibly one of these dirty Jews or black people to sacrifice, I think, to the gods, to appease the gods. And I don't have any of them available right now. It's just, you can't blame me. I can palm a basketball. I got these, I was a catastrophic failure at basketball, but I can palm the ball. I can spin the fuck out of that ball on my finger. /Paul, represent politically incorrect on 4chan. I'm a frequent visitor. But yeah, that's why I loved my mentally ill Native American friend, Bo, because, we would have one-on-one basketball wars, dude, in the backyard on the dirt court, going to war. We could barely dribble the basketball. Good times, ladies and gentlemen. Talking shit, that's where I learned to talk shit and hate the Jews. No, I'm just kidding. I love the Jews, all right? I want to make, not the women, though. I mainly the men. I want to do some business deals with the men, sell one of my scripts that I've written out here in Hollywood. That would be nice. If I could get some Jewish wheeling and dealing going here, possibly. Oh, Simply A, welcome to the stream. He's over there in Australia with them Aboriginals, boy. Don't talk shit of the Aboriginals, you evil colonizer. They're off limits from criticism. Simply A says it's Australia Day here today, and protests have been silly. We have the highest quality living in the world, highest minimum wage, and great welfare, but they just burn our flags. Yeah, when you start to appease the mob, that's when they really start rioting. Like if you just had a free market capitalist system, they would either have to contribute or get the fuck out. But once you start giving them a little bit, then they're like, oh my God, they probably feel guilty for what they did to us, what their ancestors did to us. And then it's just a never ending, inching forward and taking more and more and more and more and more. And it will never stop. They will never be appeased, because that's just the leftist mind state, is to never be satisfied. And, constantly, it's a quest for power and domination, because they have no moral standard that they're aspiring to. It's all about, you know, worldly power and what you know, sensory indulgences they can you know, avail themselves of in the moment. So it's never ending. Once you start giving it to them, it's never fucking ending, dude. Like, they're still talking about, you know, we need to give the poor black communities more money in America. And it's like, the war on poverty started in 1964, okay? We've given over $20 trillion to these poor communities to try to get them up on their feet. And, you know, the welfare state has done nothing but destroy the black family and, you know, create dependency, create a permanent dependent class called the Democratic Plantation, which they will never get out of unless they get out of their own mental prison that somebody else is holding them back. And so it's self-inflicted servitude. That's what Kanye West was talking about when he said slavery is a choice. He wasn't talking about, you know, the Atlantic slave trade was a choice. He's talking about modern day mental slavery is a choice. You can choose to either be personally responsible and make your own way in the world, or you can choose to blame other external factors for your failures and continue to fail and revel in that failure and play the victim card and continue to blame everybody else, assuring that the problem will never be solved. So until people take some personal responsibility, until the black community says, hey, maybe we shouldn't commit so many goddamn crimes, and then maybe the police wouldn't profile us, until there's some self-reflection there, no change will happen. Yeah, Kanye West should be on Joe Rogan. My problem with Kanye, he says unbelievably true things from time to time, but he can't fully articulate them in a digestible way, which is sad, because he's a great artist. He's just not that economically literate. He's not that philosophically literate to be able to articulate his ideas. He feels what's true, and you can see that when he talks. Like, every now and then he'll a truth gem will just come up out of him, and then people will be like, what did you mean by that? And he'll be like, well, I watch porn too much. And it's like, Kanye, that's you had a perfect platform there on a late night TV show, and you're talking about the porn you watch. And it's just like, it makes people think that, oh, he only said that because he's off his meds and he's just fucking crazy. And, you know, but slavery is a choice in the modern day world. You can choose to live in the mental slavery mindset, or you can choose to make something great of yourself, because everybody has that choice in the internet age. Everybody has a phone they can go live on. Everybody has a Twitter account. You can make something of yourself, or you can choose that, you know, there are these, you know, there's this institutional racism that's holding me back, and, you know, it's never going to happen. And, like, I dispute the fact that he is a great artist. I mean, College Dropout is unbelievable. Late Registration is unbelievable. Graduation was but still a lot of good tracks on it. You watch him working in the studio with the sampling, and, like, yeah, he is a different tier of artist, because, you know, some artists create things out of whole cloth, but there is an art to sampling classic music and putting it together in a composition with rap music. Like, you know, and listen to Spaceship. Google Kanye West Spaceship and tell me that's not fucking art. That dude I respect the fuck out of his hustle and his relentlessness, and his drive. Yeah, he's way more. That's why I respect him. He's like no other artist is even willing to come close to what he's saying. And he's not necessarily putting it in his music yet, but give him time. He's coming out and he's just figuring these ideas out in the public sphere, and people call him crazy for it, and he keeps going, and you got to respect that to some degree, because he's figuring it out, man. It's especially hard for super prominent black people to come out and talk about this shit, because they're already getting so much love from their community, and to speak out against the Democratic Party is like total heresy. It's like you got to have some balls to do that. I respect that at least. Yeah, but difficult for black conservatives. Absolutely. Like, they immediately get called Uncle Tom and like a sellout and like a race traitor. It's like unbelievable, dude. Like, if these people would just read one article by Thomas Sowell, if they would just read Black Redneck White Liberal, like, it takes so little effort to get yourself out of the matrix. I don't know. Ben Shapiro's always ignored me, or annoyed me. Sorry, he's always annoyed me. Um, I, I don't know what principles he's going by. He seems to be going by the traditional right-wing conservative path, but then like he's kind of a neocon at the same time. Like, he supports war and shit. It's like, what do you? Okay, you're against abortion. All right. You have some semblance of economic knowledge where you recognize that free markets are the way to go. Okay, that's like the bare minimum to be like considered sane. But I don't know. His voice is fucking annoying. I hate to stay on the surface level like that, but like, does he believe that climate change is real? That's sad. Computer models are not science, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the entire climate change narrative is based on, are computer models that they've modeled, 10 to 20 years in the future. And it's pretty weird. Like, they might want to clue in the local weatherman who can't get the 10-day forecast right, because they can get the 10-year forecast accurate for the entire climate of the planet. They know what's going to happen in the next 10 years because Bill Nye and Al Gore say so. So you need to fill their bank accounts, okay? Because, they need another beachfront mansion, and I lost 2 viewers with what statement? About climate change? Dude, I don't give a fuck. I'll lose all the viewers, dude. Climate change is nonsense. Show me some evidence. There was this big like climate report that was posted on Drudge Report and shit. Like, it was supposed to be the big scientific findings. No data in the entire report. Just a bunch of word salad, nonsense horseshit. This doomer propaganda that the world is going to end in 12 years. Like, and we got to pay our carbon taxes. It's fucking nonsense, dude. It's not science. Science involves data, experimentation, hypotheses, and theories. I mean, they have a hypothesis that, humans are causing increased CO2 concentration in the atmosphere, and it's going to cause a cataclysmic climate event, but no evidence, no experimentation. We just have a bunch of computer models that show us. It's like these fucking climate scientist nerds getting government grants and playing video games and think they're fucking solving problems. It's like these fucking dorks, dude. And Leo DiCaprio believes it and shit. You know, fueling his private jet and go around and speak about climate change. They always show you the 100-year graph that's going like this, and it looks really scary. But if you look at the 100-million-year graph, here's where we are right now. In the past, it looks like a fucking boy band haircut. Hundreds of times higher than what we are at, than the levels we're at right now with CO2. And no reported global climate cataclysms. Pretty much the only thing that fucked the dinosaur party up was that big space rock that came down and, landed on the Tyrannosaurus Rex's dick. So, the Tyrannosaurus Rex did not have to drive a Prius. The dinosaurs did not need wind farms to survive. It's more, anti-human, anti-real progress propaganda. Because they got to get you to hate yourself. That's the big thing for the government to get more power. They got to get you to hate yourself and see yourself as not a human being that contributes something valuable to society. No, you are just a virus on the planet. You're like, the John Smiths from The Matrix. Humanity is a virus on the planet. We're just a mold on a sandwich. And it's like Joe Rogan has said the same shit. And it's like, yeah, because you're not contributing anything of value. That's why you think humans are a virus and we're a plague on the planet, is because you are fucking worthless. You're not speaking any valuable truth. That's why you think human beings are worthless. That's why you think human beings don't create anything of value, is because you're not creating anything of value. And so this idea that humans are just a consuming organism, that all we do is consume and destroy and pollute and consume and destroy and pollute. It's like, that's just, if you think that, that's evidence of your own ineptitude. That means you haven't contributed anything of value. Because humans are fundamentally creative and destructive. That's what you see in the free market. That's why you let the big banks fail. Is because the big banks fail and then their competitors take the place of the big banks, and through destruction comes creation. And that's the cycle of life. But people are trying to convince humanity that that's not the natural cycle, and that we are fundamentally destructive, and that we're just leeches on the planet, and we're only consuming resources. We're not creating anything of value, and it's nonsense. Simply A says, I do like Joe Rogan, though. He sits on the fence, but I do enjoy the guests. I've found out some interesting people, Jordan Peterson, David Coggins, etc. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you people. I've listened to damn near every podcast that Joe Rogan has ever done, because, he's one of the main people who inspired me to be a comic and inspired me to start working out. And I've learned a lot of different things from the guest he has on. He's not, the comic that we need. He's not a great comic. He's a great podcaster. But he does specifically avoid saying things he thinks are going to offend people. He values not offending people over the truth. That's the fundamental problem with Joe Rogan. He values not offending people and managing his viewership's emotions over saying the truth. Because he doesn't want his advertisers to get canceled. He doesn't want that revenue stream to get cut off. And so he specifically avoids harsh truths and is overly skeptical of harsh truths because he doesn't want his revenue stream to get cut off, and because he values manipulating other people emotionally and managing their emotional reactions over telling the truth and finding out what the actual truth is. What's up, Mark Smith? Welcome to the stream here. It says Jordan Peterson and David Goggins were known before, which is why they were invited on. Joe Rogan jumped on the Peterson bandwagon way after. Yeah, Jordan Peterson didn't need Joe Rogan. Jordan Peterson, I think, is important for the mainstream pushback against the radical left, but other than that, he doesn't hold a lot of value. The whole thing. I mean, I will be honest. I have listened to Jordan Peterson a lot, and I've he's touched me. He's made me tear up and shit, talking about saving your father from the belly of the whale. Because my dad is going to work until the day he dies. He's not going to have a retirement fund because they lied to him and told him that if he worked hard, he would have money for retirement and he would be able to relax in his old age. But my dad's getting up in his mid-50s, going on 60s, and he's going to have to keep working until I make something out of this comedy career and help my parents. And so that idea of saving your father from the misunderstandings of his generation, that really touches me deep down. And I do, my family, my parents are baby boomers, and they bought into, just be nice and let the government take care of things and work hard and everything's going to take care of itself. And they didn't, shake the boat. They didn't go out and speak a bunch of truth and say what needed to be said. They just kind of stayed in their own circle of life and worked really hard. And I feel, I feel a strong responsibility to there's unfinished business that I need to take care of that the last generation didn't take care of. We need to point out the horseshit in the society and point out the tyrants and the liars and the hypocrites and take them down, because they're preying off people like my parents who work really hard and are just simple-minded people who want to have a good, fulfilling life. They're being preyed upon by these evil fucking cunts in the government that say they're gonna go after the super rich and tax the super rich, when meanwhile they're just feeding off the middle class, because the super rich are able to have political connections and move out of the country and protect their money in offshore bank accounts. The middle class can't do that. So they're stuck with all of these horseshit government programs and funding this horseshit. And it really pisses me off. And that's what fuels me to expose these fucking liars and these hypocrites in government. And that's why I'll never apologize for voting for Donald Trump, because fuck the establishment. They fucked my parents. They fucked the generation before my parents. They lied to their face, and they'll never get away with it as far as I'm concerned. They will never fucking get away with that shit. So Jordan Peterson does resonate to that degree. And, Owen Benjamin criticizes him for not being totally religious. I'm an atheist, all right? Because there's no proof for God. There's no logical backing for God. And so I don't blame Jordan Peterson for treating the Bible like a Aesop's fable, because that's what it is. It's an Aesop's fable. It's moral lessons to be learned from fictional stories. Jesus did not walk on water. He did not rise from the dead. Okay, it's a fake narrative, but it's an inspiring narrative. And for lower IQ people, Christianity is just fine. It gets the morals across and gets you to commit to them. It's fine. But you know, I don't criticize Jordan Peterson for that. I still love Jordan Peterson. Moro says, how do you feel about Kanye 2024? Do you think he has a chance for Trump support? You know, Kanye just, he isn't articulate enough with his ideas. He isn't articulate enough. He doesn't fundamentally understand why he believes what he believes. And so that's what troubles me about Kanye. It's almost the same with Trump. But Trump is so set in his ways and he's such a businessman that it's like, you know, he's just doing what he does. And he's mainly, he was needed to expose the corrupt evil of the establishment. And he's kind of a placeholder until we can get somebody who's really fundamentally libertarian in the presidency. Until then, you know, hopefully he can get small business kicked back up and cut taxes and cut regulations. And absolutely free Alex Jones. Fuck the censors. Fuck these leftist tech companies, dude. That's my goal, is to get banned from YouTube. Bring it. If you're not banned from YouTube, you're not saying anything important. All right? Audit the Federal Reserve. Oh, dude. I love Alex Jones so goddamn much. It's such a crime he got deplatformed for hate speech. There's no such thing as hate speech, ladies and gentlemen. It's a made-up propagandistic term designed to get white people who understand the system to shut the fuck up. That's all it is. You never see anybody other than white people getting criticized for hate speech. It's a tool. It's a Machiavellian tool to get white people to shut the fuck up. It's a, you know, you're racist, you're sexist, you're homophobic, you're hateful, you're bigoted. It's all these leftist tactics. They don't have an argument. They don't have an argument for big government and socialized healthcare and fucking free college and all this fucking horseshit. They don't have an argument, and so they have to label anything they can't argue hate. And so Alex Jones, you know, he's called a lot of things and exposed a lot of things and woken a lot of people up to how corrupt the big banks are, how corrupt the Federal Reserve is, how fucked up the United States foreign policy is in the Middle East. And, you know, he was against the Iraq War. And, you know, when you look at his accuracy rate compared to the mainstream media, it's unbelievable. That's why Alex Jones has grown so much in the past 10 years, is because he's actually on the target. He's on the target of these deep state fuckheads who, despite the administration in power, are calling the shots in the government. These people that, you know, are just part of the military-industrial complex murder machine, and, you know, will do anything to get their agenda across. And it's the military-industrial complex abroad, and it's the welfare system at home. You want to keep control over people. You want to maintain the control over the power structure. And that's what the deep state is there for, and Alex Jones has been calling them out for 20 years. And that's why they don't want him on the air. Because he's a real fucking libertarian that actually wants a small government and recognizes the evils of government. Cryptocurrency is the future, dude. I think as long as we keep the power grid up and running, then, you know, it's a much more desirable alternative to fiat currency. Because with your currency, the only thing you want is for it to not be decentralized, or for it to not be centralized, excuse me. You don't want your currency to be centralized, and you want it to have a finite source of currency. You want to have a finite resource that you're basing your currency on, so it can actually be deflationary and go up over time. Because the nature of fiat money is the Federal Reserve creates more whenever they want and inflates the monetary supply to disguise the bubbles that are being created in the economy and the inefficiencies that the big government is creating. They disguise it with flooding the monetary supply, and then we have these big booms and busts because there's no centralized system that can effectively manage an economy of 320 million people. It's impossible. And so cryptocurrency is inherently decentralized and therefore inherently deflationary when there's a finite number of Bitcoin in existence. And so it's ultimately better. But the only question is, when the fiat economy collapses, are we still going to have an electricity grid to be able to share our Bitcoin? Because that's the only inherent weakness of Bitcoin, is it requires an internet connection. If you have actual gold, you can still make transactions, but unless you have an internet connection, Bitcoin is useless. Oh, I'm having fun tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Chief Crow? The flat earthworms. You mentioned Project Bluebeam. Let's look that up real quick, just because I'm curious. Project Bluebeam. Let's see what the fuck this is. Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory that claims NASA is attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via technologically simulated second coming. Jesus fucking H. Christ. The allegations were presented at 1994 Quebecois journalist and conspiracy theorist Serge Monast. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if we went to the moon. I really don't know. I really don't know. The main thing for me is, can we get through the Van Allen radiation belt? I don't know enough about physics to speak on it. Owen Benjamin makes some solid points that, we deleted the telemetry data, that it would have been, it's kind of incomprehensible that we live streamed a broadcast on the live TV from the moon, that, we have, no people have went on manned missions to the moon since 1973. And, there's all the Kubrick stuff with all the allusions to faking it. And it's like, I don't know. There's not enough there to definitively prove that we didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we went to the moon. I'm just going to accept that there's not that massive a conspiracy within NASA, that all of the images of the Earth are fake and that it's really flat and that we never really went to the moon and it was all faked on a soundstage in Hollywood, and it's just so much that is more implausible to me than actually going to the moon. So yeah, simply Dirtweed, yeah, nobody controls Bitcoin. It's all decentralized. It's on a public ledger. And You mine it through computing power. So through your computing power, you mine more and more Bitcoin. I don't know if all the Bitcoin in existence have been mined yet, but eventually they will. Hold on, let me get a little more water. Yeah, I'm about to shut it down in the next 10 minutes, I think, because the audio version of this turns into a pumpkin after 2 hours.
Oh my god, pumpkin.
Yeah, I try to do a stream every single day. I missed yesterday, regrettably, but goddamn, it's fun every time I do it. So I'm gonna make a commitment to do it every day, and hopefully I make my rent. Because I like these late night streams because and I never know if people are gonna be up. Because it's 1 a.m. on the West Coast here, so 4 a.m. on the East Coast, 3 a.m. in Middle America, and but you're in Australia. What time is it in Australia? Oh shit, 8 p.m. I'm trying to cultivate a new Aussie audience there. Well, thanks for hanging out, bro. That's cool as fuck. Yeah, I'm an aspiring comedian out here in Hollywood. I go to all these open mics and shit, and come home and talk some shit on the internet here, and trying to. K-Bomb says the shirt needs to come off to make rent. Eventually, I'm going to be twerking on the stream while talking about the Federal Reserve. All right, everybody, I'm going to get a banana hammock, and that's going to be the new reserve currency. Is my twerking with a banana hammock on. Everybody, you will trade selective clips of me twerking on the internet, and it's going to be super progressive. Everybody. But yeah, I gotta go do Postmates during the day to make rent and shit, and then I go do open mics, and then I'm gonna be doing these late night streams because these are fun. But yeah, I chop up clips and post them to my Instagram at Nick Jordan himself on Instagram, and then I've been trying to post more on Twitter at I am Nick Jordan. And you can find me on Facebook, Nick Jordan. It's me with a little more hair here, and a microphone in my hand, and a blue shirt. That's me on Facebook. And the audio version of the podcast goes up on all the podcast apps and iTunes and whatnot under Outrage Cast, all one word. This isn't a podcast. This is an Outrage Cast. Okay. It's designed to trigger you. It's okay if you get triggered. You just, control your breathing and think of Sam Harris and think of moral subjectivity and think about how nothing is objectively right or wrong. It's all, according to what Sam Harris says. So everything is determined. Everything is predetermined, and that's why I'm trying to convince you of determinism, because I want you to change your mind and have free will about believing in determinism. So, Julian Assange is Aussie, and we love him. I fucking love Julian Assange, too. Julian Assange is a bad motherfucker. All right, he's an example of what happens when you go all out for truth. Yeah, 100% credibility. But now he's being slandered as this Russian agent that helped Donald Trump get elected. Oh, he helped Donald Trump get elected by posting 100% accurate information about the DNC and Hillary Clinton. Oh, what a high crimes and misdemeanors of posting accurate information that nobody else was willing to post. That Seth Rich leaked to them and then was murdered for his effort. Seth Rich, Bernie supporter inside the DNC, murdered. It wasn't a robbery. They didn't take any of his valuables. Murdered by Hillary Clinton, everybody. So I will never commit suicide. If it happens, Hillary Clinton did it. And, you'll know because it's going to be 2 shots to the head and the gun is going to be in my hand. And you'll know that Hillary Clinton did it. All right, ladies and gentlemen? Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the propaganda. Believe your outraged chancellor here. I'm committed to the truth and I will never back down. I will never bend the knee. They're gonna have to do me like they did Seth Rich, ladies and gentlemen. Are you not entertained? Are you not outraged? All right, party people. I gotta end it. We're going on 116 minutes here. And I think I'll end it on a laugh right there. Let's like the stream if you like it. Share it out to your friends. I'll be doing this late night craziness every night, speaking the harsh truths everybody else was scared to talk about.
Nice, James.
And I love all you motherfuckers out there hanging out. Outrage community, Outrage TV, staying outraged, staying committed to the truth. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, if I go longer than 2 hours, the audio podcast doesn't load up. So we'll keep it relatively brief for you, ladies and gentlemen. Your outraged Chancellor Nick Jordan here, signing off. Godspeed, party on, and fuck Hillary Clinton.